am Mina Malik Hussain, and you're watching The Coffee Table. And as you know, on The Coffee Table, we are always having conversations about art and culture and literature. And today is like none other, because today we're going to be talking about art galleries in Pakistan, and we're talking to some gallerists and artists and a curator who have been involved in this. And we want to kind of unpack what role does a gallery play in developing an art scene? How has the art scene evolved in Pakistan, and how galleries are growing alongside that? And it's actually a really exciting time to be an artist in Pakistan, because so many of our artists have broken out into the international art scene. So many amazing talent is sort of, keeps being developed and keep coming up every single year, and it's just really exciting arts-wise to be here. So yay! So today I am so excited to be welcoming on set with me Mr. Omar Nabi, who is the founder of O Art Space and is the CEO of the Studio O Furniture Design. And we are also joined by Mr. Irfan Gul, who is a lecturer at the NCA since 2006, where he also received an MA in Visual Art. Irfan received the Charles Wallace Fellowship in 2013 and participated in the Karachi Biennale in 2019 and in the Lahore Biennale in 2020. He's held the Vassal Residency amongst many others and has been the curator at O Art for several years, from between 2017 to 2020. And joining me from Islamabad is Dr. Arjumand Faisal, who set up Gallery 6 in 2008 in Islamabad, where he is the curator. He is a consultant public health specialist, but is also an avid, patron of the arts. And Gallery 6 also sponsors the Arjumand Painting Award, which is a biennial national prize awarded to the arts, which was founded in 2015. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Lovely being here.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's always nice to have people physically present. Okay, so Omar, tell me, when you set up O Art Space, which was several years ago now, what made you do it in a nutshell, really?
A couple of things. I felt that there was not enough art galleries going around in Lahore. So, and as an interior designer, I was constantly sort of involved, and an avid art lover. I was constantly involved in looking for art, and for myself, for my clients, and so on and so forth. So I was setting up a sort of a customized studio of my own. Yeah, I was building from the ground up. So I had that opportunity to, within that, designate a space for the for a gallery. Yeah. Plus, I felt that the art scene in Lahore was a bit weak at the time. Okay. It wasn't. There weren't very many regular shows going on all the time. A gallery is only as good as the art it shows. Right. Right. So I felt that there were very few very good galleries. There were a couple of good galleries, but very few. And I felt that there's so much art and artists which Lahore sort of produces. Yeah. That it's a bit unfair that they're getting a sort of a public space in Lahore to show their work. So, as it was at the time that, artists were being produced in Lahore and work was being shown in Karachi. Yes, that is the kind of, dichotomy so far. That was, I feel. I feel that it's no longer. Oh, good. I feel that we have helped change that. So, I mean, but that said, I was not a curator. I was not, involved in the arts to the degree that, I could run an art gallery. So I felt the best way to do that was, because I was serious about, if I'm going to set up an art gallery, it has to be a good art gallery. Yes. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. Yeah. So no one's going to go there. So I set up a board of artists. I was lucky to have been recommended Irfan here to sort of run the gallery, to be the curator, and he did an incredible job. Yes. We're very sad to lose him as a curator, but he's now part of our board. So yeah, so he's still around. He's still around. So we're not letting go of him that easily. And neither should you. It's so hard to build community. Yes. So once you've got it, you sort of grasp at your heart with hoops of steel, as it were. So we've really been a very busy gallery. I mean, we've been showing, I think the first year probably we were showing once every 20 days, but since then we show once every 2 weeks.
That's a lot.
I think it's the busiest gallery in Pakistan at the moment.
Wow, and why do you think that is? So now, because you have been
it's the pace of the gallery that we, exhibit works of art and the other activities that we do. So it's our pace actually which makes us busy. Besides, we have created particular slots for emerging artists and the diverse artists that we exhibit in the gallery. That makes us a little
different.
More active than probably the rest of the galleries.
So, as a curator, what does a curator do for a gallery?
A curator is like a director,
right?
Where he has to think of an idea, and from that very scratch, he has to envision the whole thing till the end, till the display end, and sometimes into the sales as well. So depending on the if you're an independent curator, you might work differently, but if you're a gallery curator, you have to think about how you are going to market it and how are you going to approach the buyers and sell it and plan the strategy and all of that as well.
So basically, curator is the MD of the gallery, so to speak. So it does everything.
Yeah. Which also then kind of leads me to the question about, I think a lot of people don't really understand what a gallery does, because I think a lot of times people think about it as just like a place that provides a wall, and then you just hang things, and then everyone is like, well, what's the big deal about that? So, but clearly, and the way I see it is how writers have agents who then kind of, ferry their work out and midwife their work out into the world. I imagine that's what a gallery is doing for artists as well.
Well, I think one of the key roles of a gallery is to make artists stars. You see, to give them public access. The more people see an artist's work, the more recognition that artist will get, right? So I think a key role, which is something that I understood through Irfan. So you may be able to give a better answer to that.
But I want you to finish first.
Okay. So yes, so basically the idea is that we have to make our artists stars. So, there's so many young artists, for instance, that are coming out of NCA and they're brilliant at what they do. Unless people see their work, it's pointless,
Actually, you can divide this whole thing into, two parts. Like, there are artists which are more like brands. They're big artists, big names, and then there are big galleries as well in the world.
Yes.
And they represent big names and they sell like anything. And then there is another type which is emerging lot and or a little unknown or less known artists who actually need more support than the established ones.
Absolutely.
And maybe in the world it is different, but in Pakistan we are like a younger country in the art scene.
Yes.
So we are developing this, and still I don't think we have any gallery who is big enough or that big enough to go into the museums and work into work with the art auction houses and represent our artists. Though we have big names like Imran Qureshi, Salman Toor and others as well, we have big names. They have made their name so big that international art scene recognizes them, and but yet they are represented by international galleries.
Yes.
So this is a little sad part till yet, but I am assuming that now is the time that our Pakistani galleries have to take up this task and make the emerging artists their heroes.
Yes.
And make their names big, groom them, support them, and create opportunities for them to, kind of provide them a platform where they can, represent them internationally as well.
Yeah, and that's something I want to come back to, like the star value of an artist as well. But hi, Faisal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. So tell me about your role in promoting the arts that we've been talking about. And this is so fascinating because I know that you started out as a very young curator in Karachi and you put together an art show. And then sort of you became a doctor and then you did your doctorate, but then you've come back to the arts. So, could one say that it was really your first love?
Yeah, it's a very interesting journey. In 60s and 70s, there used to be only one gallery in Karachi of Ali Imam, Indus Gallery. And similarly, there was, I think, one in Pindi and two in Lahore. So we had very few galleries. And Ali Imam Sahab gallery was very close to my house, and I used to visit there regularly, and there all the artists would come. The famous ones, the leading masters, they would sit there in the evening and talk about art, and I would sit behind and just listen to them. And my interest grew more and more into arts. Yeah. At that time, I formed a group which was called Budding Talents, and it became a very interesting group in Karachi that we used to do a function every month. And we became quite well known. So a business group, they contacted me as I was lead person in the group, and they said, we want to establish a gallery. Would you like to run it?
Yes.
And we agreed. So we opened up a gallery called Johnny's Art Gallery in Karachi, which was the second gallery in Karachi, in the PECHS area, pretty close to Indus Gallery. And that's where I curated the first show on 29th January 1972.
Wow. And it's very interesting that a business group contacted you to set up a gallery. And I think that a lot of times we think about galleries as sort of, just being this artistic bohemian space, but it is also a business enterprise.
Yeah, but very soon we realized that they were the drug sellers.
Oh, gosh.
They wanted to do their operation. And the sale used to happen every evening between 5 to 7. And we got so frightened when we learned it. We kept an eye on them, and then we left and we closed the gallery.
Oh, gosh.
And then I opened up in 1974 another place which was called Zina.
Yes.
In my house, we had huge stairs, and they were pretty wide stairs. So I converted those stairs into an art workshop, a kind of a gallery. It was called Zina, the art workshop, and it accommodated about 35 to 40 paintings. So that was the second venture, which continued till 82 when I got married. And so we had to stop that Zina.
Zina had to come to a halt. But it's interesting, I feel it, because you have observed an arc through decades now, and you have now sort of Gallery 6 is in Islamabad. And I think it's interesting because, like Omer said, like traditionally we've always thought of like Lahore being a center of production because of the NCA and a lot of buyers being in Karachi. But clearly the scene has evolved and it has changed. And how do you feel like it has developed? I mean, particularly with reference to Islamabad, which I think was always considered an outlier previously.
Okay, that is, I have seen a very interesting change. Initially, the galleries were owned by the art teachers or senior artists, the ones that came up, and they really scrutinized the art, what should be shown, and they developed the art market in Pakistan. So that was a totally different approach and a very serious approach towards art. But as the information technology came in, things started changing. So the phenomena reversed. At that time, the senior artists were creating the art market in Pakistan. But when the information spread happened and the art became known to more and more people, the demand in the market started changing the art scene in Pakistan. People, the framers started realizing what is being framed, what people bring into frame, what should be done. And so a lot of influence from the market started coming in because each person has its own art instinct. Similarly, each region has its own art instinct. What sells in Karachi may not sell at all in Islamabad. Or so even the markets in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad differs a lot. And now it has become pretty tough because all the artists have established their own Facebook pages. They are marketing themselves. And then there are art forums which are marketing them. And the existence of galleries are becoming, they are threatened. They are threatened. And since the online work has happened so much, which we just witnessed in 2020.
Quite right.
I mean, it was a very different year for us.
Yes.
And surprisingly, we did manage to keep our sales. Internationally, the art market was 65 billion in 2019. And it shrunk to $50 billion in 2020. But fortunately, in our gallery, we were able to keep our sales going at the same speed and sometimes even more than that through various innovative ways of online sales.
That's excellent. And that's something that I want to address in slightly more detail, but we're going to take a very quick break before that. Stay with us, back to this fascinating conversation in just 1 minute. Welcome back to the coffee table. We're having a riveting conversation about the art scene in Pakistan and the importance of the gallery with the gallerist Omar Nabi, with artist Irfan Gul and Dr. Arjumand Faisal, who is the curator of Gallery 6 in Islamabad. So before the break, we were talking about how the market, how sort of initially with galleries, we had these really established, respected artists who were kind of deciding the tone of what went into a gallery. And then that's what was then available for people. So in a way, I'm thinking about how do galleries kind of establish good taste in a buyer? So in a way, do you think it's sort of like you're training your buyers also to kind of understand and appreciate certain kinds of art as well by making it available and putting it out there and saying, and kind of explaining it in a way?
I think that's a very important role that the gallery has to play. We have to train our audience. Yes, it's very, very important that we do that. What do you
Besides
feel?
just like, faction.
Yes.
If you look at trends, how they change and how the new trends, make their space in public. Public actually don't design it for themselves. There are people with vision who design it.
Yes.
And public follows. So what happens here with the art market, actually, there are different galleries who have different vision to deal with certain kind of art.
Okay.
And particularly speaking, with the contemporary art, there are lots of new galleries who are actually dealing in contemporary art. And it's like, when you present this kind of art in the market, you are actually already training people to develop a certain kind of eye for that art. And besides, if you're a good gallery and if you are good business people, you can actually advise them, you can train them, you can help them understand what it means and how it it actually helps them to not only decorate their homes or just decorate their walls.
Yes, it's not just an aesthetic choice.
Actually the idea helps them to think about different social issues, political circumstances, and the philosophical content as well.
That's really interesting, because I think a lot of times, and I'm glad you brought that up, is a lot of times people are seeking art because it's an aesthetic thing, where they're like, you want to make it, it's an interior choice to make. And also, I suppose do you think many people are thinking about it as an investment, or is it just mostly aesthetic?
People have now started to think about it as an investment. It's slowly changing, but yes, generally it's the matching the painting with the sofa.
Okay, I have a very different perspective here. I think this is my very personal opinion on this, because I personally think there are kind of 3 to 4 kinds of buyers.
Right.
One is very khandani, a Khandani buyer is the buyer who buys for their family.
Yes.
To, they cherish it for a very long time.
And
they
like
keep it for
collector.
themselves. They are the proper, I would say they are the collectors who actually buy for themselves.
Right.
They don't buy to resell it at some point when the prices are high for certain artists. Yes. So, but those buyers are very limited now.
Oh, okay. Now.
And, because I don't know how it was in the past, but right now those buyers are not, in quantity. And the other buyer is like, is the investor.
Yes.
Who is investing in the art. They are, obviously they want to live with the art as well. But their other intention, parallel intention, is to invest in art, and at some point it can benefit them. And the third kind of buyer would be like me, walking in a gallery, and if I like something and if I have enough money to buy that work, I will buy. But maybe then after that, for many months, I won't buy. So it's like, impulsive, have some money in your pocket and you are buying it.
Yeah.
Occasional buyer.
Yeah, occasional buyer. So mainly I categorize buyers in, these three. Yeah. Yes.
So do you think that the second kind of buyer is the kind of buyer that keeps coming back to the gallery?
Most of the buyers are investors as well.
You think most of them?
As well.
Okay.
So, the parallel thought is
sure.
investment as well.
Sure. I mean, yes, I buy art never with the intention of reselling it, for instance, but I always want to know the value of it after a few years. I mean, so that I suppose that parallel thought that you're talking about.
Parallel thought is always there because now the buyer is more enlightened, in the art scene. They think about art as business as well.
Yes.
It's not only the
luxury. It's not just a luxury good that you buy it because it was beautiful and you want to pass it down through generations. It's not just a sort of genteel, gentlemanly pursuit.
But there is another thing that I would like to add, that nobody buys art that they don't like.
That's true.
So
or at least they shouldn't.
They buy only what they like. Besides that, they think about the investment.
Well, I hope that's true. Faisal, what do you think? Do you feel like people are also sort of artistically also led by what's in fashion? I can think of, where people are there's a trend and everybody has the same kind of horse painting couple.
Could I elaborate a bit on what Irfan said?
Yes, please.
I've used my public health skills of data analysis and I put into who buys what. So I found a different, very specified category.
Oh, interesting.
The visitors in Islamabad, which are many, the foreigners that are coming, they walk into the gallery, they are here for a few days or a few months, and they want to take back something from Pakistan, which represent Pakistan. And they're looking for something between rupees 15,000 to 35,000. It's what my analysis shows.
Which is quite specific.
Then comes the new couples who are recently married, setting up their apartments or their portions. They look for something, up to 60, 65, maybe 70,000. They don't want to go beyond that. They are looking for something that appeals to them, that they like. Yes. And then there are buyers who come in with this, that they want to, like something that they like, but they also start thinking it should pay them back. So they go, somewhere between 75 to 150. And they are not ready to go beyond that. But anything that goes above 100,000 rupees, these are the buyers who start comparing which painting will pay me back more. But underlying thing is what they really like. And as I said, art is an human instinct. So the instinct varies according to the regions and the people. So I see very clearly who buys what. When a foreigner walks into my gallery, I know what to show them and what they are going to buy. And so one point that Omar made was that we do have to create new buyers and we do have to educate them. So that's what we really try to do. And when a new artist comes in, we do explain the intricacies of the art that artist has. But it is very time consuming and a lot of effort has to be made.
Yeah. Because your gallery is in a situation where you are selling to foreigners, how do you feel like that helps in pushing Pakistani art out there internationally?
Well, some of the arts that people have seen here, their comments are really too good. And it really irritates you. They feel there is a construct, there is representation, there is great composition, and what they praise most is the executional skills, which they feel is now, they don't see much in the world. And they really praise the amount of details to which Pakistani artist does. And Irfan Gul is an example of those details. R.M. Naeem is an example. My daughter's son Arjumand, to the extent they go, you can name them, the amount of effort these artists puts into making their painting, which becomes visible, and people understand and appreciate that Pakistani artists are still maintaining that. And when I took the shows outside to USA, that was the major comment that came from the visitors and the curators from there. They said they never expected this kind of art from Pakistan. They thought what Pakistan would be producing would be calligraphies and landscapes. And it was so surprising. It was so surprising that the newspaper next day commented that this exhibition has created a dent in the image of Pakistan created by CNN. So
very good.
We were able to show them that how far our artists can go and how much they can produce. And I have recorded interviews in which they said this is the world-class art, which really makes you feel so good when so many international curators and serious buyers and people who understand art, they talk about it. And when I gave a presentation to there's Art Society about the art in the exhibition, the first comment I got was a woman who stood up and she said, we should tell CNN who gives us such a wrong image of such a beautiful country. And then several people came and asked me, can you give us the name of any tourist company? We would like to come to Pakistan. We would like to see this ourselves there. So that's amazing. That's where we stand, and we should feel very proud about it.
Absolutely.
Irfan Gul's painting on climate change on art remained in Google on top #1 position for several months.
Yes.
So,
no, but that's wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this is where the sort of the role of the gallery is so important. But Irfan, you mentioned how we haven't been able to kind of develop to a place where we can be representing our own art in an international market. But why do you think that is? Like, what are the gaps here?
You need to have a product which is good enough, sellable enough, and groomed enough that market accepts, international market accepts it. So I think right now what we need to think about and invest our time and energy into is the artists, groom them and support them and make them big.
Yes.
So this is where actually we are lacking behind actually. The galleries in Pakistan, some galleries are taking initiatives, providing, arranging these residencies, awards, like Dr. Faisal Arjumand Sahab has announced this award, and other galleries are doing residencies. So these are good initiatives, but I think the pace that we have is a little slow at the moment. We need to increase our pace, and we need to, rush things a little more.
But Omar, do you feel like, I feel like that's kind of contradictory also. Like, for example, Art Space is having shows one after the other. So clearly there is work out there. But,
certainly, yeah.
But then where is the sort of the commensurate upwards rise?
Well, I feel that at many levels we are making an effort towards that. As Irfan said, the effort has to be, for instance, I have traveled to the West. I've tried to make contacts with people there. I mean, it's at the end of the day, art is a lot about contacts also. So we're trying to make contacts. We're trying to push, our artists. We also, as Irfan is rightly saying, we also have to groom our artists. That's very, very, very
What do you mean by grooming?
We don't have artists who are very fluent in international languages or very fluent at writing skills, or they know how to approach international opportunities. So there is a lot of work to be done on, and I particularly think that galleries need to take this as their responsibility and work for these artists and groom them in that context so that they can reach out to the world. Besides, there is a lot of other things that we can do. Art Space recently has collaborated with Koel Gallery in Karachi. Now, this is something new in Pakistan happening. Galleries have not been very, close to each other and working closely with each other. So things are changing probably.
But why do you think that is? Is it just a sort of everyone's in their own little bubble, or everyone's a little hesitant to, extend the hand of friendship to each other?
I don't know. There could be lots of
people
reasons.
feel competitive. I am certainly not that kind of person. I'm an inclusive kind of person. And from the word go, when we set up Art Space, I didn't interfere too much. I let my board take decisions. There's one thing I was very clear about. We are not going to be in any camp. There are all these art camps, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's not just in Pakistan. I mean, it turns out they're everywhere.
Everywhere.
So we're not going to be any sort of associated with any camp per se. And when we're going to be a very inclusive gallery and not, and sort of work with other galleries, work with all kinds of people. We're not going to be just an NCA gallery. We will be the Jamshoro School of Art Gallery also, and the Gujarat School of Art Gallery, and the, NCA and Indus, and everybody is welcome. Any good work is welcome.
Yes.
And we have been actively seeking out good work from all kinds of places, and we've been showing, and we've helped a lot of artists get some recognition, at least local recognition.
Yes. Which is a very good place to start. And I do agree, I think there's enough space for everybody. And I know that Faisal wants to say something at this point, but we also have to take a break. So break first, chat later. See you in 1 minute. Welcome back to this wonderful conversation that we're having about art and galleries in Pakistan and internationally. And we're talking to Omar Nabi, Irfan Gul, and Dr. Arjumand Faisal about this. Now, before the break, we were having this great chat about, what galleries do. And I know that, Faisal, you wanted to say something. So now, here is the floor for you.
Well, I totally agree with what Irfan is saying, that artists needs to be groomed further. Yes, certainly. And what Omar was mentioning about the context, I do agree. But my experience abroad shows that people consider our art world-class already. But why we are not being able to reach there in a large number? We have online skills that we do every month. That is going on, but why can't we do it in a big way, in a large way? There are major obstacles. The obstacles is when you do it on a larger scale, it is considered as an export. So for an export, you have to go to the Ministry of Commerce. To get permission from the Ministry of Commerce, you have to become member of the Chamber of Commerce. To become member of Chamber of Commerce, you have to do something else. And do something else, you have to do something else. So it's such a long change. And a person like me, who is a medical profession and is doing art as a passion, cannot go through all the hassle. Similarly, the senior artists who are interested in running the galleries, they do not have this much amount of time to go into these hassles. So these has to be paid. And above all, when the painting comes back, which are not sold, you have to pay customs on them. And that custom levy is very, very high. And I've ended up paying that twice. And I know that how painful that is, that something that has not, you are paying customs on it. So there are issues on that side which nobody has looked. And as I said, that the world market is very, very high. It's 64 billion, 65 billion in 2000. And so we can tap into it. Our Pakistani art can tap into it, provided these rules are made much easier for us to take our outside and sell.
Yes.
There is tremendous potential.
And these are institutional problems that gallerists can't be expected to surmount single-handedly. Like, that would just be like crazy. You can't sort of tell the Ministry of Commerce what to do as one humble gallerist. Please, would do that. But one thing that I've also sort of, I feel that a lot of times conversations about galleries include is that people don't really understand what a gallery does for an artist. Because it's not just providing an exhibition space, is it? And we've been talking about how galleries are sort of responsible for making their artists stars, and that kind of investment into grooming an artist is very important because you're not just selling the art, you're also selling the artist as well. It sort of goes hand in hand.
You're also making sure that the art is shown like in a larger perspective, meaning in media.
Yes.
Meaning in art, vis-a-vis articles, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So you do want to, use other avenues. Now social media has become an important tool also.
Yes.
So you do use all kinds of avenues to help make your artist a star.
Yeah, so it's also, the gallery is also a PR machine in a way, and they're also sort of...
Well, yes, of course, we have to be. We have to be. I mean, it's very important that our shows are covered in the news, they're covered on social media, they're covered on print media, et cetera, et cetera. It's very important because, at the end of the day, it's in the benefit of the gallery, the bigger the star becomes.
Yes.
It's in the interest of the gallery. I mean, for instance, we had a solo show of Salman 2 years ago. So all the people who bought work from that show are millionaires, right?
But it's true, without exaggeration. It's true.
So, I mean, while my gallery had nothing to do with him becoming that star, Whitney Museum did, for instance, right? But the point is that there are moments, there are situations, there are stars within us that we don't recognize till the time somebody recognizes them, right? Yeah. And we have to make it our level best. I mean, lots of articles were written about our show at Salman. Now, Salman was already as far as I'm concerned, a established artist. Yes. Not to this degree, but still. But he was written about. There were many articles written about that show. So, I mean, general public awareness at a local level was happening. Yeah. Right? And then it gets picked up internationally sometimes also. Yeah. So, yes, we really have to make an effort to push our artists to become more proactive vis-a-vis interacting with in the international scene also. And I think we lack, certainly at this point, but we're trying.
Yes. So, Irfan, you work with students and you're an artist yourself. If one is an artist wanting to be associated with a gallery or pick a gallery to show one's work in, what are the sort of questions that they should be asking a gallerist?
If I answer this question, it'll be a little tough on the newcomers. Yeah. Actually, I personally think what I have experienced in my 4 or 5 years of experience in gallery, young artists, first of all, they need to understand how to approach a certain institution or for an opportunity. Most of them, what I have noticed, are very naive. While when they make an email or a phone call or text, some of them just send the artwork images. There is no detail, no hello, no hi, no body text, nothing in the email, and you don't know what to do with them. And then when you don't reply, or even if you reply, you don't get an answer which is a proper answer. So I personally think that we should go a little further, galleries, go a little further to the artist, to the younger lot, and have different sessions maybe, or provide them mentors who can actually train them for these kind of things.
Or art schools should have a course maybe in how to do it.
That is a necessity which was
been overlooked.
Felt for many years.
Huh.
But I don't know why don't institutions take an initiative on that?
Because if you go to art school and this is what you're training to do with your life, then one should also learn. And because art, I think, is that great sort of egalitarian space also in Pakistan, where students from all over the country come to, for example, the NCA to study and to read and to sort of, enhance their skills. And they come from such a diverse set of backgrounds also that nobody magically knows this. How to kind of...
Nobody actually knows or an expert on everything.
Yes.
Okay. If you know your skill, or if you know your thing, whatever you do, you're an expert on that, but you're not an expert on selling it.
Yes, exactly.
Or you are not an expert on marketing yourself.
Yes.
So there are different people, and this happens with everything. It is not only with art.
Yeah.
So you have to just know your job. Then there should be people serving you or working for you, and it's a mutual benefit, win-win for everyone.
And that's what the gallery comes in. So is it also important as an artist to sort of look at different, and we've been talking about how galleries have their own way of doing things and almost like their own brand, if you will, their own sort of artistic ethos. So should artists sort of go to different galleries and kind of gauge what kind of work that they're showing and see whether their work fits into that conversation as well?
First of all, I think that all the students who are actually studying in institutions, they should regularly go to exhibitions happening in their cities. They should go and interact with the senior artists or the galleries even, and see what is happening. Because this is a great learning. Even if you don't, learn it in the institution, you should get out and do some effort to learn this. And when they come to the galleries, actually they get to see all sorts of work, and then they understand what they are producing and how can they pitch themselves into the...
It's also exposure, right?
Yes.
The more work you see, the more exposed you are to what's going on also. Because, while the school environment is great, skill learning wise and, people skills wise, etc., but it's also important to see what's really happening around you, right? What is selling, what is not. That also to some degree is important to the artist, right?
So Irfan, also because you are a teacher and you interact with students and you've been working with Omar for so long, I think there's also this idea culturally that art is a luxury and art is something that happens after everything else is done with. And there's also this sense that only rich people can buy art. But clearly the fact that we have so many galleries now and that art is available and you can talk to artists online, and like Faisal was saying about how artists have Instagram pages and Facebook pages, and it's more accessible. And isn't that great for us?
It is now. Actually, the artists are more connected with, buyers and galleries online. The things have changed completely. In 2019, probably, if the online participation in the art sale was 10%, which has risen 40 to 50%.
Wow.
After the pandemic. So it is a great change that we are witnessing right now.
Yes.
And particularly if you ask me, I think in the times like these and in the general, even before the pandemic, if you look at art, what it was considered as, it was considered as a luxury.
Yes.
But I particularly think people now have started probably realizing that it's more of something which is required for their sanity, for their intellectual growth, for their cultural, representation or cultural needs. It's more of their more like their basic necessities.
Absolutely, it's like a way of understanding yourself and how you fit into this sort of larger space in the world. And art is that language that speaks to everybody. So to put it very poetically, but it's true.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Faisal, all the way from Islamabad.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
guys
Thank
for
you
watching.
having us.
If you haven't got any art in your life, get on that. There are lots of galleries here to help you and understand you and your tastes in art. And art is really for everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we will see you next time on the coffee table. Bye now.